I know you guys are my performance junkies. A lot of you out there who tune in and watch these videos really do like a fragrance that is like burn your nostrils, incredibly piercingly strong. And I've said this many times, it makes complete sense if you're spending the money on something, especially a good amount of money, you know, $50, $70, $100, you want something that's gonna perform good. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of fragrances out there that are expensive maybe don't do so well. So today we've got 10 fragrances that you will wake up the next morning and still be smelling these. Like no joke, these will legitimately last into the next day. And if you happen to get up in the morning and take a shower, then it really comes to life even more. And it's just crazy. A lot of times you could smell it when you wake up and you kind of smell it on your chest or your shirt or whatever, or still on your neck, wherever you sprayed it. And when you hop in the shower, all of the heat and the steam starts to open it up even more. It's pretty cool. So 10 fragrances with great longevity. All around, these are just very powerful scents that are gonna last through an entire day and then some. Let's get it. So first up, we have the Lightning Bolt Bady Boy Le Parfum by Carolina Herrera. This one has cannabis, leather, and black pepper in it. So if you guys watched my first impressions on this one, you would know that I liked it right out of the gate. And with things like this, where you have an original fragrance, the one before this one, this is the first flanker, the original gets hated on, it gets crapped on, and isn't really that good. It's easy to go into something like this and also have the same expectation. And it's also easy to let those ideas of the original kind of fade over into this one, to where you're smelling this and you're like, yeah, this still kind of sucks too. Even though in my opinion it's a big improvement over the original, some people may not be able to shake the original and they still may think that this sucks. But for me, I think this is 100 times better than the original Bady Boy. I think the original Bady Boy is kind of a throwaway. I would not recommend really any of you to buy that one, but I would recommend you to check out Le Parfum. It's a drastic improvement. It opens up spicy, herbal, green. It's got this nice leathery undertone. It's very masculine, and where the original is super sweet, this one's adding some aromatic notes, some green notes, a bit more of a leathery undertone. It just is kind of a refresh in the right direction on that original. There's still some sweetness here, but it's balanced out with a bunch of spiciness and some earthy or heavier notes, which really makes it smell great and unique. Now this one is an eau de parfum, not a parfum like you may initially think, but performance is very good. This is one that I've sprayed on middle of the afternoon and make it through the entire day, and then the next morning comes around, I'm waking up and I smell good. I'm like, why do I smell so good? And then I remembered the day before I sprayed this on. It's pretty crazy stuff. You will definitely be smelling this one the next day when you wake up. Next up we have LaYuqawam by Rasasi, the almighty Tuscan leather clone, and probably one of the best clones on that Tom Ford out there, especially for the price. This one has leather, raspberry, and suede as some of the main notes, so basically exactly the same as Tuscan leather. You get that raspberry up top, you get a whole bunch of a strong, earthy, masculine leather. I love this DNA. It's a little bit spicy. It's got a whole bunch of a texture to it. Like it's not like a smooth, supple leather. It's kind of like a worn in, rough, masculine leather, like an older leather jacket that's been sitting in the closet for years. And maybe the guy who owned it previously would smoke every now and then. And he, just put it in the closet, let it sit. Over the time the leather does, whatever leather does, I'm not a leather expert here, but I'm sure over time it gets better like a lot of things. And so that jacket's in there aging. You pull that thing out of the closet after years and you smell it. That's kind of what I compare this to, at least if I think about it like that. It may sound weird for some of you, but really it's a super realistic leather fragrance and it smells incredible. Like I mentioned, it's very masculine, it's very confident smelling, it's very empowering. And also, this one happens to be incredibly powerful, just like the real version. This one's also an eau de parfum, and easily it will last into the next day. You wake up in the morning, you're still gonna be smelling like a sexy leather jacket. You hop in the shower to start getting cleaned up, the heat's gonna activate it, and you're still gonna be able to smell it even more. Really cool. So you don't have to go out and spend the Tom Ford price to get that. You could spend about $50 here and get very close. I think this is a great alternative here. Next up, Bottega Veneta Pour Homme Extreme. Pine tree, leather, juniper berries, and fir are some of the main notes. So all you need to know about this one in terms of describing the smell is it's a woody, aromatic scent, but primarily woody, as you can see there by the notes. And what I love so much about this, as I've described it before, is it has this pine needle smell like you would expect, the pine note in here. but it smells like just being in the outdoors. It smells like you're chopping wood in the fall season. You're outside, you're dealing with obviously firewood or whatever you're going to do with the wood. A lot of times for me, I used to chop firewood when I was younger. And so this kind of reminds me a lot of that, just being out, you know, in the fall time, hearing the leaves crunch, the weather's cooling off. You're just out in nature. It's peaceful, it's quiet. That's kind of what this transports me to. This is something that a lumberjack would wear. This is something that you would want to gravitate towards if you want a masculine, woody fragrance. You don't want something that's sweeter, citrusy, that sort of thing. Another one that just has a very confident demeanor about it. So another thing that's a little bit strange about this is it's a Pour Homme Extreme, but it's still an eau de toilette. And you may not think that an eau de toilette will last into the next day, and you may not think you'll be able to smell it on your skin the next morning, but I have many times. Usually I'll put a little bit on my chest, do a couple sprays on my neck, and the next morning I'll wake up smelling like this. I love it. Next up, we have a scent which I feel like could last multiple days in a row if you were to not shower at all. I haven't tested that, and quite frankly, I'm curious, but I really don't want to not shower for days in a row. But, you know, someone has to do it at some point, so who knows, maybe I will be testing this for you guys. A little bit gross, but hey, if you want to see that for some weird reason, let me know. This is Dark Lord by Kilian. Leather, vetiver, and rum are some of the main notes. So this is Kilian's take on a vetiver fragrance, believe it or not. Every brand has one at this point, pretty much. There was a time where vetiver was kind of a trend. You know, a lot of fragrance brands were putting out a vetiver-centric flanker of some sort. And while this isn't a flanker, it's a full new release, this is their vetiver scent. And so when you think of a vetiver fragrance, you think of something like Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, Rouge au Parfum's vetiver, something along those lines, usually a soapy clean scent, Guerlain Vetiver, another one. And so a lot of those will be clean, masculine, that sort of thing, very inoffensive. Of course, the brand of Kilian is all about stepping it up and really raising the bar, and they came out with this, which is an absolute ridiculous powerhouse of a scent. I mean, it is strong. And you know what this smells like to me? And stick with me here, but it almost has this rubbery smell like car tires. Like if you're to walk into a place and buy a new tire for your car, and they have them all sitting out on display, and there's just that smell in the air, this almost has a little bit of that. It's the way the leather's mixing with the rum and the vetiver here and everything going on. It just has ultimately a super masculine, super strong attitude about it. And this one really blew my mind when I first smelled it. I'm like, wow, you know, to capture something like this in a fragrance to me is really cool. Earthy, strong, woody, it's a little bit dry, very masculine, very unique. And definitely a niche product, so not for everybody. But if you want probably one of the most unique takes on vetiver that I've ever smelled, check this one out. It is an absolute monster of a scent. Forget about trying to get rid of this off your skin without scrubbing it and like taking a shower to get it off. You spray this on in the morning, you're going to be smelling it the next morning. It is ridiculous. Next up here we have Spicebomb Extreme, vanilla, black pepper, and tobacco are some of the main notes in here. This to me is still one of those fragrances that will always have a special place in my collection. Always be up front, easy to grab, easy to get to, for me to spray on and enjoy. Whether I wear it or not, maybe I'll just grab it, spray it up in the air like this just to smell it. Maybe I'll spray it on a tester strip and, you know, walk around with that a little bit and, you know, smell that while I'm wearing something else. It's one that I'm always captivated to smell frequently. Even throughout summertime, I'm always kind of gravitating towards this one and wanting to wear it. Even though for me, summertime isn't the best time to wear this. I like to really save it for fall and especially winter. I just can't help myself. One of the best designer tobacco vanilla combinations out there, at least in my opinion. It's a much more mature, much more refined take on the original Spicebomb. But that's pretty much common knowledge at this point for most of you guys. But if you're new, there's your synopsis on this one. Now this one is an eau de parfum and easily for me will last into the next day. No questions asked. And I'll tell you, that's another thing that I like about this one so much is, you know, when it's the holiday season and you wake up the next morning and are greeted to this smell, by that point, a lot of the black pepper has worn off, the spiciness, and you're just down to the vanilla, very trace amounts of tobacco as well. That's when it's really just super warm and inviting and cozy. And when it's cold outside and you wake up a little bit chilly and you're smelling this, man, it's awesome. It's a great holiday scent. It's a great winter scent. A very special fragrance for sure. Next up, everyone's favorite, Bentley For Men Intense. It had to be in here because, well, I can't escape this one when I wear it. Spray this on in the morning, spray it on in the afternoon, whatever. I'm smelling it the next morning. I mean, it is so strong. Rum, woody notes, incense are just a few of the main notes here. It's very, very masculine, very smoky, not for everybody. This one is also an eau de parfum, and what I admire so much about it is the price to quality ratio is out of this world. Not many other things compete with this. And so when you can spend about $35 to $40 on this and get a fragrance that you can smell the next day, to me, that is just a no-brainer. That is if you like how it smells. I get this is not going to be for everyone, but if it's for you, yeah, get this one. And if you already have it, you haven't worn it in a while, go grab that bottle, go give it a spray, give it another chance. It's easy to forget about certain things over time, so make sure you don't let this one just kind of wither away. Make sure you get some use out of it, dust it off, and wear it and enjoy it. Let's keep it moving here. Up next, a fragrance from everyone's favorite designer brand, Diesel. This one's Diesel Bad. So I know I've ripped on the name of this a million times, so I'm going to save that for you today. You're welcome. You don't have to hear my whole spiel on that again. But I really, really do like this fragrance. In fact, I almost love it. I really do. And I never thought I would say that about a fragrance from this brand, just because I haven't really smelled too many others that have blown my mind. But this here, like, there's something about it that, I don't know, it just works really well with me. Woods, nutmeg, cinnamon, white tobacco, caviar are some of the main notes. It's very spicy, it's very woody, it's also very sweet. But it's not too sweet to the point where it's overpowering or overdone. And it's also not like syrupy sweet. It's a bit more of a spicy sweetness from the cinnamon and nutmeg, that sort of thing. Comes across really well on my skin. Smells great off the atomizer. The white tobacco essentially is giving off kind of a sweet floral. So I would equate a lot of that sweetness, now that I've said a million times, to some of that white tobacco. To me, amazing. I love it. Smells fantastic. And easily, probably one of the best from Diesel, at least out of what I've smelled and what's readily available. Diesel Fuel for Life, another one that I really love how it smells, but yet doesn't quite have the into the next day performance that we're looking for like this one. So this is an eau de parfum because it is a flanker of Diesel Bad, the original, which was an eau de toilette. That one was a bit more fresh overall. This is like a true intense flanker. And yeah, this will last into the next day. It's another one where when you smell it after it's been on your skin for that long, like in the morning or whatever, you know, a lot of the spiciness is also worn off and you're just down to this nice, sweet, creamy woodiness. When you get really far into the dry down, like a full day's worth, and it smells great. Next up, we have Ferragamo Uomo Signature. Coffee, tonka bean, and leather are some of the notes in here. All in all, this one's a bit more refined and a bit more masculine and touched up compared to the original Uomo, which is a very sweet fragrance. This one's also very sweet, but you get leather, you get a nice roasted coffee note. It just kind of ties everything together here. And while some may not like the original due to the amount of sweetness, you may want to give this one a shot if you can tolerate still a sweeter fragrance, but with a bit more of a different twist. Also an eau de parfum and definitely a huge performer. And to be fair with you, the original Ferragamo, also on my skin, will last me into the next day. Both of these are very strong. But I wanted to include this one instead just to shine the light on it. And also, I don't know if the original is still sold out, but it was for a while. And this was also sold out for a while. So, you know, I don't know if at the time of this, if you're able to get this or not. I will do my best to leave a link down below. So who knows if it's still sold out or the original or whatever. But I urge you to get this if you can, if you don't have it yet and you want something to wear this fall and winter. That will last you into the next day. Running down to the very end, second to last fragrance, we have Armani Le Parfum. Vanilla, cardamom, and lavender are some of the main notes. Comes in as an eau de parfum intense concentration and is a really, really great flanker. Miles better than I thought it was going to be when I saw it come out. Not that I thought it was going to be a flop or anything, because I knew it was going to smell good. With a note breakdown like this, for what I'm into, it would be really hard to mess up. Like, they would have to do some atrocious things to this in order to make this something that I wouldn't like, judging off of these notes. And it ended up being to where I really love it. This is almost head-to-head, neck-to-neck with Ultra Male for me. And Ultra Male is just one of my favorites. Now, I've said this before, but if I had to choose, like, I had no option, I could only take one, otherwise someone was going to take away my entire collection, it would still be ultra male at the time of, you know, me having these feelings now. But this is like right there, man, like right there, almost about to edge over it, but still I don't think it will. But that being said, it's a great fragrance and easily my second favorite from the Le Male lineup. And I think one of the better designer releases we've had in the past few years. It's got great performance, longevity into the next day, projection also really solid. It's a nice warm, spicy, oriental scent that does set you apart and will have you smelling unique. Even though it's a Le Male flanker, don't worry about smelling like the original and smelling basic. You won't. You'll be set apart from the crowd. And last up, Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Vanilla, tonka bean, and lavender are some of the main notes. You guys see the trend here. These heavy, sweeter fragrances just have the power to really last into the next day. When you're using notes like I just described, and usually they come through in the dry down especially, they have the power and the strength to just stay on your skin for a long time, especially if the fragrance was concentrated relatively high, you know, and also just depending on how it's put together in general, quality of ingredients, that sort of thing. And that's kind of what you get here. Nice sweet vanilla, nice powdery tonka bean, nice clean lavender. This is a much more strong flanker of the original Code, but also with a modern refresh. I've talked about this before, but I really like this flanker because of that. You know, the original Code still smells fantastic. It's a timeless scent. It always smells good, but I do think it was due for a refresher, and that's what they did here. You know, they make it just different enough to where it's worth picking up. They increase the performance, which for a lot of people is a definite selling point, and for me, it's just a really nice wake-up call, a really nice 2021 refresher for Armani Code, which has been out for a while and has also had many other flankers. Armani Code Profumo, Armani Code Absolute, both of those for me are a next day fragrance as well. They will last on me the entire day into the next morning, but so will this one. And so I wanted to feature this one to give it some light as well, because the other two are talked about quite often. Alright, you guys, that's going to do it for me. That was 10 fragrances that will last on your skin into the next day. You guys are always after the beast mode, super strong fragrances, and here's another video for you. Let me know down below, what are some fragrances that have lasted you into the next day? What are some ones that you wake up in the morning and still smell it from the day before? If you want to grab any of these, I will link them down below to Discounters, so you can pick them up there. And if you want to see some vlogs, if you want to chat with me in a group chat, if you want to watch these videos before everyone else, consider becoming a channel member. That join button will be down below. Thank you so much for your support. All of my members, you guys are awesome. And everyone watching this video, you guys are awesome as well. Thank you for the continued support. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.